Hey, slot heads. This time around, we're going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my visit to the Cleveland Slot Car Show, which took place back in April. I took some footage there, and I've had it, just been kind of going through it. And what I want to do is kind of take you along with me, show you some of the things that I've seen there. It's really a fantastic show for anybody who's interested in slot cars, just about any scale. This was the third time I've been to the show. It was in Brecksville, Ohio. It's been there for a while. And the show is, I think, primarily organized by Greg and Brad Bennett, a couple brothers. They just do an outstanding job of helping organize the show every year. And one of the great things about the show is they have some special auctions on it kind of takes place over a weekend. So like during the Saturdays, they have these auctions. They raise money for kids. I believe in this April show, they raised over $7,000 for kids. And it's really a great thing. But I want to just tell you a little bit about it. It happens in the spring and the fall. So they've had two shows. It's probably mostly HO, I would say the majority of stuff there, but they have more and more 132 and larger scale stuff there every year. So you'll find more of that. I've gone up, I primarily again, collect and drive 132 scale, and I've found plenty of great deals and plenty of stuff to look at. And that's not all they have. They have cars, but they have so many different things. There's a large number of events too. They have tracks set up for racing. As I mentioned, they do auctions and some other fun events there as well. As far as the vendors go, they come from all over. During this last show, they had vendors from 23 different states in Canada. And this show is actually the oldest slot car show anywhere. I believe the second oldest is in Germany. So this, again, was the 79th show that they do twice a year. But what you'll find there, you'll find cars. There's new cars, used cars, tracks, a lot of vintage stuff, really cool vintage stuff if you're into that. There's lots of tools. You'll find accessories for your track, decorative stuff, some really cool signs and stuff. And I'll show you some of this stuff as we go along here. But again, they have racings, auctions, and a lot of other things going on as well. So with that said, let me show you some of the stuff I saw at this last show. I'm not going to do a whole lot of talking during this part. I want you to kind of just experience the show as I experienced it. As you can see, it's a pretty hustling, bustling show. Lots of people. It's a very nice hotel and conference center it's been at for I don't know how many years. But as I will mention earlier, they are going to move to a larger venue next year. But a lot going on, as you can see here. Here we are coming up on Bobcat's stand here. You see he's got some cars, he's got some tires, packs over there as well too. But yeah, he had some very nice cars on display. I actually did pick up a nice deal from him, but yeah, great guy. And there's one vendor in particular at the end of the room here. I tried to find out after the fact who this was, and I just wasn't able to. But they have just an incredible selection of 132 scale cars. You name it, whatever brand you're looking for, they have it. Under the table, on the table, behind the table. The special packs, but yeah, Fly, Electric, all kinds of some of the smaller brands, even some of the old Vanquish MG cars, they have some of those as well. But yeah, just an incredible selection there. And then there's the main room, and then you can step out in the hallway. They have some other rooms. Out here, you'll find some really interesting things, an incredible amount of cool vintage stuff as well on display. So, all for sale. Really neat stuff. And then out here in another room, they had a really cool selection of posters and signs and stuff. Most of it's slot car related, but not all of it. Just really cool stuff that would look great in your slot car racing room or your man cave. Just take a look at some of this stuff. They also had some examples of all the old posters from the older slot car shows. You can still buy these framed and unframed. But as far as putting on the walls of your slot car room, if you want something, they've got something here, and it's really neat. So obviously, I had a great time at the show, but I'd be remiss if I didn't share some of the ill-gotten booty that I purchased or I picked up while I was at the show. First of all, I already have a Polycar, a Ferrari 312, and I wanted to pick up a mate for it, so I managed to get this Slaughter version, which was really nice, really great deal. I also got another Slaughter, this it's a Lola T290, which again, I have another one of these, but I always like to have two of a car sometimes to race against each other. So that was a fun one. And then I picked up my son, who's still living at home. He asked me if they made Batmobiles, and I said, yeah, they still have, the classic Batmobile. He said, well, you should have a Batmobile. So an impulse buy, and I don't normally buy, TV and movie cars and things like that. So I picked up a Batmobile, and I got this from Bob at Bobcat Slots. He gave me a nice deal on this. We talked for a little while, and again, if you want tires, he's the guy definitely to check out. So that's another purchase, but I got away from there with these three, and I'm really happy about that.
Hey, Mark, I'm Bill from Buffalo. I'd like to add some buildings to my slot car track, but the space I have is limited. There's only a few inches between the edge of the track and the wall, and most of what I see simply won't fit. Any thoughts on a solution?
Hey, Bill. That's not really an uncommon problem. A lot of times if you're building the track and you have to put it up against the wall, try to maximize your space, it's inevitable. You may only get a few inches there between the track and the wall. So, what are you going to do? But actually, there's some benefits there, too, because some of the manufacturers out there, some of our smaller, accessory manufacturers, make buildings that are actually very shallow in depth. And they're made for just those situations where you don't have a lot of space for a full building and around. And of course, you can also scratch build something to fit as well, depending on what kind of style you're looking for. For example, you'll find Racetrack Scenics here in the U.S. They have a selection of different buildings. They make some really cool facade buildings like the Monte Carlo facades and some Sarca Florio facades. And again, they're made for that. You know, they're kits. They're fairly easy to build. You can put them together. Likewise, Magnetic Racing over in the UK. They have some great, low relief buildings that are made for those kind of spaces. If you're doing like just a, run through a town or some garages and with some podiums up above, you see some examples there. But again, they're made specifically for those kind of applications, and they're fun to build. There's some great reviews out there. Of course, you always have the option to scratch build something yourself. That's the route I took. You can pretty much make whatever you want. The one nice thing about these kind of buildings is you only have to worry about one side and maybe a little bit of each side. They're a lot easier to build than a building in the round that you have to do. If you have a building that you can walk all the way around, it's going to get seen from all different angles. So there are some advantages there too. The other nice part is buildings that all go up against the wall aren't going to obstruct your view for driving or anything. So that's a help as well. So take a look at some of these solutions. I think you'll find something that will help you out. Well, I've got a minute. I just wanted to take some time here to thank the slot car community and all our other watchers and subscribers out there. We recently hit our 700 subscriber mark. Again, it's a little milestone, but it's one that we appreciate your continued viewing and interest in what we're trying to show you here and trying to be as helpful as we can. Also, again, if you like this kind of content, be sure to like and subscribe and hopefully recommend this to your friends. We really enjoy doing this. We've also transitioned most of the content, the social media stuff, to facebook.com and slot.journal. You'll find some stuff at Instagram and Slot Journal as well. Not working so much on the blog going forward because, again, it's just kind of hard to update. And we just found these two areas to be most helpful in terms of social media. So you can find us there in addition to our YouTube posts. So I hope you enjoyed that little visit to the most recent Cleveland Slot Car Show. As I mentioned, they're going to have another one in the fall. I believe that's in October. It'll be the 80th, which should be a pretty big deal. They're going to also have a new location. The new one is going to be in Beloit, Ohio. It's about the same distance from me. The previous one was in Brecksville between Akron and Cleveland. This is kind of in between Akron and Youngstown. But it's really a convenient location, kind of centrally organized. If you're in western Pennsylvania, southeastern Michigan, anywhere in Ohio, even, West Virginia and on the West Coast, got some maps there to show you where it is. So it's pretty accessible from a lot of different areas. But they are going to have a larger venue, as nice as the hotel was that they had it in before. It was kind of cramped, as you can see in some of those photos. So they got a little more space. They're planning on having some more tracks available, some more events. And they're also doing some special stuff to really attract kids this time. They've got some, trying to reach out to local Boy Scout troops and do some different stuff. Because again, we know how important it is to get young people into the hobby. So that's going to be something they're going to work on. So again, hope you enjoyed this episode. We'll be back soon with some other stuff.